And we are live. Hello and welcome to Yin on the Rocks with Dagmar and Beth. This is Dagmar Stansova if you haven't met her yet. And I am still Beth Martins, last I checked. On the identity. Police have not shown up to steal that from me, so that's good.
Oh, that's funny, Beth.
So it's funny. Yeah. I never fear. We can chat for a few minutes while people are coming on. Hello, by the way, to Michelle, who is here in advance. It was really nice to come and see your messages. Looking forward to another fantastic episode. And listening to Nat King Cole, Smile Song, wondering to myself if the Bone Collector finds herself humming this song too. Oh, interesting.
Yes. Who's that? Who said that? Michelle?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I love that. Well, and just the little joke that you made is very Bone Collector, very Wolf Woman.
Is it?
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's go. Oh, and Maya's here. Excellent. All right.
Maya.
All the important people are here, so we can go ahead and get started. And well, we've got a nice little cult following. I've always had a little cult following, Dagmar. It's I think things stand to change, but because of the censorship and shadow banning and everything like that, no, it's just going to be the same. So
It's almost like our living rooms are getting smaller. Just the word living room. Because to me, this feels like a living room. In many versions of that word, it's a room to live in.
yes, beautiful.
I never like big parties. I so much prefer like just small groups where you can look into the person's eyes and really get to know them and feel, that desire to share, but not share cautiously or carefully. And I mean, even pre-pandemic, the same applies, because we all put on our best face when we're in public. And there's like a persona, which is all fine. I love personas, nothing against my persona or anybody else's, but it's like, can you take it on and put it on and take it off? Both.
Exactly. Yeah. And do you know you're wearing it in the first place? I think that's the big thing about personas, that we have no idea that that's not authentically who we are.
Well, it's sort of like, doesn't every woman, I'm sure you've done this too, like if you ever go look in the mirror at yourself, and I mean, I do this. I don't know why I do it, but every time I look in the mirror, I go like, I create this face, this face. That's the face. Yeah, that's a good one. You can go out in public with that one. Yep. Just hold it like that.
Nice.
And it's like, I don't know if it's the putting on lipstick face, but I've seen so many women do it. Like you'll be talking to them and they pass by a mirror and they'll stop and they'll go.
Exactly. I remember seeing so many cute pictures of women that would selfie themselves with that, kind of kissy lips. And I try to do it and I just look weird. So, yeah. Hello, Em. Nice to see you here. Welcome. Glad you made it. Fantastic. And being yourself, that was, for some reason, I feel like I'm rare, but let us know if this is you too, that I always wanted to just be myself, but that wasn't welcome. It wasn't wanted. It would make people squirm and feel uncomfortable. And I think it's something about, just when they see you doing something, whether it's being yourself or anything, then it right away makes you think, like, I'm not doing that, or I'm not like that, or, trying to position themselves relative to you or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that the whole being yourself has been almost weaponized, because people use it now as an excuse, I'm just being myself,
Right, to be
you're really saying something else. You're talking about like being your unmasked true self, or like you're more like your authentic, like this is just me, here I am, which is different than do you know what I'm saying? How
totally. I'll just be myself and tell you all my thoughts about you. Usually that's how that goes, right? Like, here's what's wrong with you. I decided. Oh, I figured you out. Now I know everything wrong about you. Let me sit you down.
Yeah.
Yeah, thinking that's honesty, and it couldn't be further from the truth. That that's liberating, I think. That's part of the coaching process, that I, even if I want to tell someone about themselves, because I see this and I see that, and I'm a pretty deep seer, but I try to suspend my conclusion of any kind, and I usually will withhold saying that in hopes that it's something they see about themselves, and maybe they do and maybe they don't. Often they do, which is really fun as a game, an internal game, where it's something that you saw and then they see it, and then I don't need to congratulate myself. Oh yeah, I saw that. No.
Yeah, and you don't need to say, hey, by the way, I knew that all along.
Exactly. I know how sad is that. Hello, Annie D over on Rumble. Nice to see you. I'm glad that's running. Fantastic. I think we're live on Facebook and YouTube and X, Rumble, and also Vigilante TV. Thanks to Kristen, she got us up and running again on that platform. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's one part of my world I just don't even know how to do anything about. So, if you're just joining us, this is Yin on the Rocks. Yin as in Yang. That I think this is so funny, because even looking at, you wrote me a beautiful note about the bone collector, because I didn't have that words. You knew those words. You knew about the story more than I did, and it's really hearkening my past, because for
Mm.
15 years I was, working exclusively with women. I was messaging to women. Every message that I had was something about a woman, their power and their ability to just take the bull by the horns and do the thing and do everything a man could do and everything, which is not where we're at. So this is a very refined version. And just want to say hello to Polly Vegas as well. That must be named after the polyvagal nerve in your name, right?
Yeah.
Right, Polly? Yeah. I always want to say that, and I just finally did. Glad you're here. Yeah, so we're in a new era, and it's the same era. I actually heard from an old friend yesterday, and it made me wonder if there was some astrological event when I hear from this old friend,
Hmm.
if it's some kind of like a coming around again, of the same but different.
Yeah, it's significant who you hear from and when. Yeah, it's kind of amazing. You can always take your own temperature by what's happening around you, or like how people show up. Like yesterday, I had such an unusual day where I just felt so, uh, and because of the Love Your Liver program that we're all on, and I'm like breaking out like a teenager, and I'm walking into like Lowe's and I'm going, okay, here I am again. No woman should be at Lowe's more than once a week. But then oddly, all these kind of like very present men just passed by and were just complete, like for a change, it wasn't lesbians complimenting me. you know
Right.
like but just like regular but very respectful, but just like uh you know somebody just says, and hello, and really good day to you, or well, what's a young lady like you doing at Lowe's? It just, I was like, that's interesting. So I'm feeling like the most like just you know hanging out, um and then I kind of, it took my own temperature, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is a good important thing to see, when that there's ways that I close myself, and it's just those, like we were talking on the phone, the stories that I tell myself about what's happening internally, telling myself the story of like, oh, I'm in the lesbian capital of the United States, and there's no testosterone around here, and I've changed that story since our last conversation, and somehow it relaxed me, and I'm just kind of walking around going, it just takes one man. I don't have to be in a town full of men to reignite my appreciation of just that delicious part of the masculine energy,
Nice. Well,
So,
and Lowe's might be a good place to find some of that. Yeah. Yeah.
but
A few places we should go and visit.
Well, in the past, because of that conversation I was having, I would just find all the butch women who work at Lowe's, would give me little notes or give me their little, whatever, flirtations, which, women can be just as rude as men.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what
that
I
can
mean?
be worse too, even with the
Yeah.
hands up here. Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of like, making you feel like, ooh, you just like, you're sliming over me. uh, and I was like, oh, and just letting that conversation go, letting it go into the ethers and going, it's just me talking to myself, thinking that I actually know how the universe is composed, and I'm gonna yell at the universe and say, why'd you put me in a town that's a lesbian capital of the you know,
Yeah,
instead of just going, it doesn't matter where I am, I'm bringing all of my stories with me. So why not just be a good writer and keep rewriting my stories?
it's
Which is,
brilliant.
which is one of the things that this, I guess we can call her an archetype, La Loba, which means the wolf woman. She's known by the one who knows. Um,
Oh, fancy.
and sometimes little girls get that name. I remember when I was 5 years old, that's what they called me in Czechoslovakia. They would say Stara Mlada, which means the old young one. So you can be 5 years old and have this wolf woman in you, or you could be 95. It's part of our makeup. It's like our connection to the instinctual, in the most beautiful sense of that connection.
That's
uh,
beautiful. Yeah, yeah, it's timeless. That's one of the hallmarks of any archetype is that it persists through time.
yeah, and in our everyday lives, I mean, unfortunately, there really is not there aren't that many places where that can live safely and beautifully.
Yeah.
We don't, I mean, I remember I did this practice once where with women, and we found, and they had male friends, so we went with like 7 male friends and 5 women, and we would go to a club to dance, but the men weren't dancing. They would just hold space around us so that we, the women, could just really, without being, worried that somebody's gonna, try to rape us or, misinterpret our self-expression. And it was so freaking awesome, to have a space where we could just fully be the unbridled, untamed, animal, sensual, celebratory self, with the men just holding space for us. We didn't have to go like, be on the vigilant thing. We did, they were like, very, we used to call them holy cock blockers.
Nice.
Like they were just holding space. And oh man, and for the men too, it was such an incredible experience, because they really felt like, wow, what a what a it was a privilege for them to see the feminine part of us unravel like that, and the delicateness in it, and the many variations of flavor in the dance that normally, if we were dancing at a club with some guy we don't know, we might hold back, rightfully so, or not be as nuanced, or like young girls, if you're young, you may go overboard in the extreme opposite of nuance, and just let it all hang out and be like, yeah. but
Yeah.
but it was a really beautiful thing. So I'm just saying that that part doesn't really have many places in our everyday world where it can experience itself. It's something that we have to, if we live alone, let's say, or have time to be alone, we might catch a whiff of the smell of wolf woman, and what she's up to.
Nice.
Nobody asks for her in everyday life.
Hmm.
She
Okay.
kind of shows up when you get lost. Like a great thing, like if you feel lost and you don't know what's happening, literally, figuratively, she's the one who might show up and be kind of like your own inner therapist.
Okay, very cool. So we'll get into that right away. I wanted to just respond to a couple of things that the other day I was just getting gas and I thought, oh, my truck is so dirty and I wanted to get a car wash. So I'm rifling through my truck for I bought one and I couldn't find it. I found all the other old ones, but there's like not the new one. And I went in and I went, do you think you could look up and see, what my code is? So they couldn't do that for some reason. And I would have had to go to another location of the same thing. And then he said, do you want a car wash? And he just wrote me a number on a little piece of paper and sent me for a car wash. And there was just something so pleasing and satisfying because it's a string of weird times right now. My landlord just had a heart attack and I won't be getting a carburetor replaced, and that's okay for me. Like I'm more concerned for him, of course, than I am for my own carburetor. But just the masculine showing up, and I also want to respond to one of the names for the wolf woman being the one who knows. And there's one of the prime programs, root programs that we suffer is wanting to know or wanting to figure it out, which is the same vibration as wanting to have control.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there's this illusion that if we know and we figure everything out and we have, the knowledge that that's going to give us control in a certain situation. Now, I wrote that note and I can't remember exactly what it was referring to, but something that you were talking about there. But that, like, knowing, it's not that you don't want to know, or it's not that that knowing isn't good. That's not why you would let the program go. It's the suffering that comes with the wanting to know and the fearing not knowing. And so one of the things that we're doing here with this podcast is rebranding the unknown. So it's fun to look at a figure now who represents the one who knows, not the one who wants to know or fears not knowing.
I think that's a key. What you said is that wanting to know is very different than knowing. Knowing is not figuring out. There's no process that takes you into knowing. Knowing is, it's not wanting to know, which is a major ordeal, and it's all about, figuring out, fixing, or getting to the truth. But the knowing is something, it's it's the unspeakable language, because we all have it. There's no way that we can deny that we have a knowing, but we cannot get it into our mouth, into words sometimes. And that's, to me, is the knowing, that you can't go like, look, this is what I know. Okay. So just like, hear me out. This is what I know, which is very different than just knowing, which isn't something you tell anybody about, or you don't program, you don't put it out as like, I'm the one who knows.
Yeah, which is a clear sign that you don't know.
Yeah, because it's a state, that's available to everyone, and we can rest there. It's sort of like it's almost like a dream state, maybe. It's that mystical place that, even like as I'm writing, let's say, I may be writing and I maybe like think I know, but the place from which I'm writing, it's just a knowing that I can't put my finger on it. This is the thing, what makes Bone Woman so interesting is that she knows that if you try to pin something down and put your finger on it and grab it, it's done.
It's not there anymore.
Yeah. So she literally lives between the worlds, and she kind of balances. She can like balance out. If you're so much in the past, she'll kind of nudge you into the center, and she can ride the worlds just through it. It's a mystery. She's that place that is the mystery. She's that place where miracles happen, or where suddenly, something unexpected shows up. It's where inspiration comes from, or suddenly, like what you went through, you had to have been in touch with that energy to come out of what you came out of, because it wasn't diet that did it, and you're the clear example of you went into and you followed, you had an instinct and you took some actions from that instinct. You know, you didn't put it on hold and say, well, maybe, I don't know, somebody said this. And I mean, maybe you've had moments, of course, like that, but ultimately you're here, which I'm so happy about.
That's very nice. Thank you. Yeah, it was exactly that kind of, I had no instruction manual at all. I felt the same way after I gave birth, that I didn't get the instruction manual. It seemed like my kid did. They got some instruction manual I didn't have access to, but I didn't get one. And then you in a way you're forced. That's, you could
Mm,
say, the beauty of those times of life that become very unsure, very unknown, very open, that you can't resort to your XYZ logical process anymore. It won't go there. It's asking you to, like you're saying, straddle between worlds, or actually be between worlds, not straddling, but like
be there.
lost. Exactly. Yeah, children are the best teachers, Michelle said, and not curious, but seeking complete understanding. Mum, what is dust? There you go. From a little child. So would you like to go ahead and tell us the tale
Oh yeah, sure.
to start with, and then we can.
It's not a very long one, and it's
Mhm.
interesting. The this is where she lives. You know, she lives in the uh, in the not knowing. You know, she lives in that place in deep in the forest. You know, that's where you'll find her, especially when you're lost. That's how you find her. So, you know,
Nice.
there's the whole beauty of being lost and not having any idea of what's really going on, or
Okay.
how you're accessing things. So,
I
you know,
just wanted to I just wanted to say there's a bunch of background noise. Is there anything that
could it
like pretty like
is it is
squeak, high
is
pitched
it,
squeaking and windy it sounds.
is
But
it gone now? Is it gone now?
yes.
Okay, it was my fan.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we're gonna have to. I'm sweating it out a bit here too. So
Sorting it out? Okay.
we're in the same hot boat.
Okay. I also took some niacin before. Hopefully, I won't flush, but don't be frightened in case I start to transform into La Loba in front of your very eyes. Um, so basically, you know, I think that every city and country and town probably has a woman like this, and of course, she's inside and on the outside. So she lives in like a some hidden place somewhere on the side of the road in the back roads. You'll see her driving in her beat up Chevy with the window shot out, or walking, you know, talking to herself and not giving a frack about what people are thinking or saying. And she basically, all she does is she collects bones. She collects the bones of deer, rattlesnakes, bears, anything. But her favorite, the one that she really is partial to, that she loves, is wolf bones. And there's something about the bone, you know, I mean, you can't, even when you burn a dead body, the bones are still left. The only reason cremation works is because they put it at a temperature that is beyond, you know, it's not human. I think it's like 7,000 degrees or something crazy like that. It finally breaks down the bones. But you know, she collects the indestructible part of of the creatures, and so she collects she's everywhere searching for the bones of the wolf. And when finally she gets all the bones together, she assembles them nicely on the ground with, you know, every when the last bone is in, she's like, okay, she looks at her beautiful sculpture of white bones laid out in front of her, and then she goes and sits in front of the fire and she meditates what would be the song that would be the right song for this wolf. And so once she feels that song coming through her, again, doing it through intuition, she then starts to sing. And as she starts to sing, we see that the uh, the hind legs of the wolf start to get some flesh on them. and then the head starts to get some flesh on them. And slowly, as she sings some more, and she watches the wolf start to move a little shoulder, and the hair comes in, and then its firm, beautiful tail comes in, and she sings even deeper and louder, and the wolf's eyes open, and the wolf starts to breathe and sniff the air, which it hasn't sniffed for a long time. And then she sings so loud that the land where she is, sometimes it's a desert, sometimes it's a forest, sometimes it's a dried up riverbed, the land starts to vibrate with her singing. And then the wolf stands up and is full of life, and then just takes off and starts running and running and running and running, just takes off and runs through waters, through the amazing speed. And the wolf is running free for the first time in a long time. And in the midst, and I don't know if it's from the running or if it's from maybe jumping in some water or something happens, but as it's running fast, it transforms into a laughing woman, and she continues running free into the horizon. And that's basically the story.
Wow.
So it's not one of those, it's not one of those that has, like, and then this happened and that happened. It just ends with something, and with her running free into the horizon. And my little tip for everyone is, like, if you're lucky and if you ever get lost, which I hope you do, and then you run into the wolf woman, the bone collector, whatever you want to call her, and she, let's say, takes a liking to you,
Oh,
then you're in great shape. And she will show you something. She will show you your very soul.
okay, very good. Hey, I'm so sorry, Dagmar, but that fan, I think, is it's got really high pitched. Is your fan not on anymore?
It's not on, no.
Oh, okay. It was making high pitched, like scratchy uh, chalkboard noises.
Oh, geez. Maybe it's the mouse in my house.
Yeah, yeah, very nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Sorry to interrupt. It's
No,
gone.
no, I have to get the sound thing. I do have a microphone. I just don't know how to use it. See, look, I have a nice mic, but
Ah,
I have to connect it, so I may have to have a technical moment with you at some point.
oh, for sure, of course, of course.
So
Yeah.
anyway, so that's the basic story of this amazing figure that I think lives in all of us. And there's parts of us that we are constantly having to, I love the word remember, because it's member, that in this life that we've been living, for sure, we've been dismembered, parts of us, especially in the last 5 years, it's been like, so this is what the wolf woman can do. She can remember ourselves back. We can go and collect those parts of ourselves and revivify. It's like the resurrection. It's bringing back to life that which was never dead, but certainly looked it.
Exactly. Yeah, it reminds me of my studies in anthropology and shamanism, and a little bit of practical study there as well, which I ran screaming from because it set off all kinds of strange dreams and threatened to dismember me, which is in fact the one of the tools of the shamanic initiation is to take you apart one way or another, and it's usually through an ordeal of some kind, putting you under stress or pressure, sending you off into the woods to see if you're going to survive the night or whatever it is, and then the symbolism of literally taking each of you. I remember some myths where, like, the bird would take the eyes and somebody else would take the ears, and there goes the hands, and coming completely apart is exactly what sets up or precedes the remembering, right? You can't remember if you don't come apart.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, it's like the tower tarot card, where first things just fall apart and then you reconstruct. I mean, we're kind of in that, like in the age that we're in right now. We've had our lives fall apart. We've had our friendships fall apart. We've, family ties have been broken. And now I feel like it's taken us a couple of years to start remembering.
Yeah, and we're still falling apart by my estimates and or anything about
Oh,
my life looks too. So I just wanted to point out, like, first of all, thank you for the. Um, Polly was loving that, and Em said she was waiting to see who was going to run first.
interesting.
And Michelle said she enjoys the Phoenix Rising for the same reason, thinking about
Yeah.
diamond painting,
Mm-hmm.
drills to watch it come to life. Children are a reminder to explore and play and laugh. Indeed, yeah, they don't mind coming apart at all. It's easy. It comes natural for them. And just visited a dog sanctuary. We're getting some bravo. And getting lost is an exciting adventure. Yes, exactly. It's kind of wild on the nervous system. I think that's the one gatekeeper, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, this part of us that knows about what lost really has the potential of, in a way, can strengthen our nervous system. You
But
know.
that's what it calls you to. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And there will be an edge that you can go past and see. Oh, past the edge, and then you come back just a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
so that you're working within a range that doesn't blow the circuits completely.
In the old country, I've heard so many stories, and I've heard this story. Like, instead of Little Red Riding Hood, this is the kind of stuff my grandmother would tell me. Little Red Riding Hood has her place too, but and my father actually had a real life experience of getting lost in the forest, and when he was young, and coming upon a house, that a tiny little house in the middle of the forest was just smoke coming out, and he was completely lost. So he went in, he walks in, and there's like four midgets, men, and they're sitting around their little fire in the house, their little wood stove, and they look up at him and they go, "George, we've been waiting for you." And they proceeded to tell him, how his life is going to be, but this, to us that seems like, what, that's crazy. But there were times not too far from now where people were actually living this kind of, there were people in the forest who were, or some woman living there alone and just talking to the animals and living off the land. um,
Mhm.
so it's not that far um, away from, it's not like thousands of years ago.
Yeah, definitely. I think we weren't meant to be here because no one living in the forest because they die for half the year. So it just doesn't work. Yeah, yeah. Unless I mean you give a really, really good space, insulated and heated. I was going to say just that experience of being lost. By the way, in my world of archetypes, is that's the child. A quintessential experience of the child as an aspect of potentially the bone collector, and it implies beginnings and having to begin again, because that's when you're lost. You have to start over. Sometimes you have to go back to the beginning. Like, really quick story, we got lost when we were on the freeways. I was with my son and his friend. Maybe they were 11 or 12. We just did a drive to the US, and our phones don't work there. And so we had plans to get to a place where we could buy a SIM card the next day so we could make our way around. Well, we got so lost. It was I actually would have killed myself, but I had two 11-year-olds in the back seat, so I couldn't do it. It was just like lost on the freeways. It's not very nice. And then so after like I don't know 3 hours of driving, and the gas tank is doing this, we managed to get ourselves back to where we started when
Oh,
we got lost. Right, not home where we were going, but back to the same place where we began. Then we hired a taxi to follow home. It was like insane.
oh wow, that's a good story. That's a good story.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a humbling place. And this is one of the things that I think people um, have a hard time with. It's easy to be lost as a child or when you're young and you don't know and you haven't accomplished things and become proficient or skilled or all of that kind of thing. But to be lost as a fully grown adult that wasn't lost before, but you are now, then that's it. You can easily reject that inner experience.
Yeah, yeah. It's and also you can also easily conjure the experience if you befriend and, like, I guess reframe loss,
That's right.
because now I that's all I do is I conjure it, in order to write and to enjoy myself and to have pleasure of discovery and really have an adventure. I'm like, wow, yeah, let's get lost. That it's not like, oh, I'm lost. It's not like the child of like, where am I? Where's my mommy and daddy? It's, it's more like, I'm lost. I'm lost. I really don't know what's going to happen next. You know, it's a luxury. It's a luxury, when you're grown up, I guess, and you're doing it lost on purpose.
Right, exactly. To me, that's called mastery, right? Where you can actually play with those inner experiences that when they otherwise just, come about and you didn't want to be lost. I wanted to be found. And then to be able to evoke it and use it like a color on a painting or something like that. So,
Like a flavor to life, a
yes.
flavor to, and the older we get, I mean, we're basically everybody's kind of trained themselves. The older you get, the more everything should be set up and everything should be cautionary and clear cut, and this is where I'm going, and it does take a lot of the fun and the play, of it's the irreverence, the irreverence that is like the clown's irreverence, that you can go to the Queen of England and slap her on the back and go, how you doing, lady? Like just go right through the, like, enough of this, like everybody's got their structures and their face masks. And I don't mean the ones that people are wearing I don't mean the face diapers. I mean like the mask on your face, like, like, oh, how do you do? Charmed, I'm sure. Like
How are you? I'm completely lost.
yeah.
Just gonna look away, right? And it's I think it's also an experience that personally I've been extremely humbled by this, and not too long ago, maybe right now. The seriousness of being lost, right? It's like a if you didn't take it serious, then it wouldn't alchemize in the same way as what I'm maybe putting forward here. That there's
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like if we came to Earth and then someone told us, oh, here's how your life is all going to go, and then you won't take each scene seriously. You won't get fully in the you won't immerse yourself in the, I want to say, drama of it, but not in a pejorative way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the drama mask. Probably, exactly. The Fool card, interesting. Jenny, welcome, by the way.
Oh, good point. Good point. Also, yesterday when you were doing the wonderful interview with Danny Katz, I was thinking how we use the expression like, I wish you would die or get lost. you know, like it's a curse, like, I'm gonna kill you, like it's like a bad thing, you're gonna die or you're gonna be lost. We use these expressions, they're like punishments, so there's definitely a lot of weight around lost.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, when you think about it, say in the days when we did live in the forest and those kind of things, if you were lost, then you'd probably die,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it depends. If it's winter, yeah, there's a chance. But those people, they knew how to do. I mean, they were so much more resourceful than we are.
They had more skills. It's true.
More,
Yeah.
more skills and more like they wouldn't be like, I'm gonna die. No, maybe we might react that way, but I mean, people now, even modern day, if they get lost, even not too far from civilization, they do die because they have no clue, what to
Mhm.
how to survive.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, this is a big one for me because I can go to my childhood neighborhood where I grew up and get lost. Like I had zero sense of direction for some reason. That's something I didn't have that faculty. And then I worked on it. So I got about 50% better, but it was actually better when I was 100% wrong. Because if I thought it go that way, it was always go that way. Now when I'm 50% better, I'm I'm wrong more. I don't know, right? It was consistent before at least. Yeah.
Well, I think that's one of the beauties of feminine energy is that it doesn't have as good of a sense of direction. I mean, you can learn it for sure, but the natural way, there is a joy in just kind of, being the water, or being the leaf on the tree and feeling the wind move you. And like, oh, you get to feel yourself in a different way when you're not like directional, when you're not, I'm going this way.
Exactly.
You get to flirt with the air, you get to flirt with water, you get to flirt with the trees and the sky.
Nice.
There's a lot more interaction, I guess. Relationship is happening um, in that kind of space where you're not, you know, on target. Which makes sense because that's what I mean. We are the glue of the universe, and as far as relationships go, we keep things connected. That's like naturally, right? We women, we connect to each other and to anybody.
That women are the glue
Yeah,
of relationships.
yeah.
Interesting.
In terms of relate, like just holding community, in terms of the aspect, not necessarily feeding the community and keeping the nourishment of the biology, but holding that sense of dance, prayer, movement, tending. Like the man may bring home the food, but we got to prepare it. Make it. There's a place of relating with that. We serve it. It really is wonderful. If I mean, I had a beautiful experience, maybe 6 years ago, where a friend of mine who was really into cooking and all that, she made me a meal, and I just started crying. I was like, because
Mm.
it's been so long that that I'm usually doing it, but to actually experience what it feels like to have somebody, look, I made this meal for you. I was like, I don't care if there was shit on that plate, I would have eaten it. But it was good.
Nice.
But
Nice.
it was that offering of like, wow, what a beautiful act to prepare something and to serve it to someone. Whereas in our modern, this whole thing of like the goddess culture and the power culture, it's like, oh, serve, what do you mean? It's not seen as the an act of beauty. It's seen as an act of servitude, and of course it can be, it absolutely can be.
Yeah,
um
it's part of the problem that I think that was by design that they turned service, true service from the heart, and that's often the nurturer archetype side of things, into servitude, and we became offended by that, right? So that if there were, if you found yourself serving, in my case, especially a man, then this was like, oh, wrong, wrongy. All the alarm bells would be going off in my system, but not in an authentic way, in a totally culturally conditioned way and propagandized way, that I should be angry about this kind of thing. So yeah, it's I like that about the glue and community, and I think about, I was just reflecting on my family and the women that would go out of their way to make a space for the whole family. Like there was a short time where even 60 or 70 of us, because the generations expand over time, and they were still willing to host in their homes and not prepare everything. We started making it much more collective potluck kind of style, but even that went by the wayside because it was such a big thing. And then a few of those women passed away. My mom was gone and my aunt was gone, and then the whole thing just woof. No, no one's doing that anymore. So yeah, I
So I
totally
like this gesture you just made when you went woof. That see, to me, that's like things going into the underworld. It's now, and that's what this La Loba, the wolf woman. That's what she goes and excavates. Of all the bones of those things that have went woof. Man, I could feel that when you're saying that. I'm just thinking of my grandmother and how I still am nourished by the meals that she made. I'm still nourished by them. I'm still feeling the beauty, and I feel so blessed that I even had the experience of ever being served by her, and watching her do things in the kitchen, and just the whole wow. But that's not, but in her life, it was a lot of it was not appreciated by her husband at the time, but she did not back off making it beautiful. She didn't just say slap it on the plate and give it to him. She did not let his attitude destroy what was essential to her, what she felt like it's part of her. And I got to experience it, and I'm like, wow, it's just it's so nourishing, that the energy that it comes with.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I was reflecting on my mum as you talked, and she kind of had both sides. There was part of her that had the same anger that she was serving her family, and at the same time, she was vehemently attached to that. There was a time where we were noticing the misery that she would do that with, and so we conspired to take it off her hands for, I think, a whole night, just like literally. We were just going to make this big difference in mom's life. And she was mad at us. There was some things like, don't take this away from me. I know I'm grumpy and everything about this, but it was like, no, this is mine. This is my role. So it was, you could see the inner conflict going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Must Can you imagine being around that time, if you're like your mother's age and all the women's lib stuff, and it's coming at you from one angle, and then inside you have some other instinct, and so it's a lot of war, inner war.
Inner war, exactly. And it was a shocker for us because, we even in a masculine way thought, oh, there's a problem, let's solve it.
Yeah, exactly. I know. It's amazing how many of us have done that. I don't know if it's just women, but yeah, I've been in that role where I'm like, I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna make sure you don't have to do this or that, and I'll do it. And then it's like, oh, where's my reward?
Yeah.
I am hearing like a little echo too. I'm wondering what the heck that is.
Huh.
I'm,
I
I'm
might
hearing,
hear it a tiny bit. Yeah.
yeah, it's just like a little echo, and I don't know that I pushed some wrong button. Do you hear it?
Not so much. I heard it a tiny bit, but not that much now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I have some background noise. I don't know if that's bothering anybody. So we're looking
No,
at.
I don't hear that, but
Okay.
sometimes when I'm speaking, yeah, I'm hearing like an echo of my own voice. Oh well. All right.
Right. So there's a whole bunch of comments here. Let's go
Yes.
and
What
because
are you
I love
saying?
to respond to people. Yeah, there's like a whole bunch actually. Um, and I lose the context of exactly where we were, but there's a difference between cursing at someone and cussing at someone.
Mm. Oh yeah, I saw that yesterday. Somebody mentioned that in the comment with Danny also. Maybe
Okay.
it's, or maybe it's
Oh,
Michelle.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Is it
yeah.
a is it a matter of degree, or is it just literally two different things?
I think what she was saying was that, you know, cussing is kind of like almost childlike and cute. And you can pass with that.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
it's the attitude with which you say, and I think, but yeah, clarify some more if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Jenny was saying the last time she enjoyed the sensation of being lost was riding bikes with her friends, finding a new part of the neighborhood. Such a great, curious feeling. Yeah, that's the beauty of traveling, where you go somewhere that you don't know and you don't have a context, or at least I don't. Like the big picture. Where am I? And then it's new and it's fresh. I had a teacher in India, for better for worse. He would say that if you can't meditate, you should travel, because you get that same experience of just like the fresh new beginner mind experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great reminder. And let's see. A good level to start. Hopefully it resolves. Heart fire up. I can't remember what that was. Yeah, making it palatable to dish out to others. Exactly that. Because if you just bring home a beast, remember, imagine being a woman in the day when the man would bring the beast,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? With all the hair and the hooves and the everything is still attached. And I guess it would still be a man's job to do some butchering and
Yeah.
then and some rendering. Yeah, so it wouldn't be completely put on her, but like the hunk of beast would hit your counter, and then you make it palatable.
Pull out the feathers and cut off the rabbit's feet. Yeah, I've witnessed all that.
Yeah, I have a childhood memory of the same thing, like pulling out the feathers from a turkey and stuff like that. Yeah, and yeah, this is interesting, NED, about grounding and that wild feminine energy that will get lost and maybe stay lost and just keep running in the forest in every direction. And it's I think where the masculine will always end up entering the picture as a means to give the river some banks. Or did I use this metaphor already? The god Shiv in India, when he was creating the universe, or no, actually it was Parvati, the feminine, creating the universe. and
Mm-hmm.
then, and then Shiv lent the locks of his hair as the river, the rivulets, so that it would go through in a controlled way rather than just like kaboom in a very destructive way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The ravines. Well, and but I really feel that this is very, very particularly feminine woman is the lost part. The lost is a way to keep moving on that spiral, to keep finding new levels or moving down into deeper levels or sometimes ascending, whatever your journey is. It's sort of like La Loba is about finding the river beneath the river,
Nice.
going to that place that sometimes, let's say one day you're just sitting home and you have this thought, something kind of, but you can't see it straight on, but it's kind of in your peripheral vision. You have this feeling of like, I got this feeling that I like it. What is it? And that's where you go take a walk with La Loba and find that your way into the river beneath the river. But it can't be like head on. You can't go with your telescope and be like, there it is. Oh, now I'm going to dig right there. It's one of those where you're walking and then you feel the earth is softer and you're like, oh, what's happening here? And you, this is the other thing that this character also reminds me of, is the feet. It's like we know, the feet are like the instinct, the root, the low, the animal, it's right there. And we really should be able to see with our feet. I always joke and I'd be like, oh yeah, I can walk in the dark because I see with my feet. I don't walk as fast, but I still am looking with my feet. And I think about our culture, where we live right now. Our feet are always covered. So we got our souls covered, and so it's the instinct. You have to work a little harder to connect to those deeper, the river beneath the river, and there's no way that I could give words except, it's very poetic, like poetry or music or one of your songs. If somebody hears your songs, like when I listen to your songs, I immediately start to feel things melting down and dissolving, and I'm feeling more. I'm remembering,
That's
uh, paintings can do it too. Images, strong images or sounds can stir, revivify, or give us direction without direction.
yeah, yeah.
Peripheral vision is so different than, like that.
Exactly. Yeah, and that is another feminine hallmark is the peripheral or kind of floodlight attention rather than the
Diffuse. It's a diffuse attention that
Mm,
we can rock several things kind of at once. We don't have to just focus on that one deer that we want to kill. We can just, because I mean, if you look at it, traditionally, if we were picking berries and gathering things, we need that much more so we could see, is there any creature coming? And we have to be attentive to details. We have to, what's a fly doing here? What are you doing? How did you get in?
and I just wanted to say also about Polyvegas is about the untethered or wallowing in the depths of watery emotions and how the river beneath the river. There's always you can't tell someone what the river beneath the river is because it's going to be like what is the surface for you. Often we see the circumstances on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the river you can see. And then, so what's the river under the river? And then sometimes you see a deeper river than the circumstances. You feel the depths of watery emotions and you're aware of those. And maybe you're lost in them and maybe you're stuck in them. That's often more of the lover archetype in my world. I just habitually relate everything to my world. And and then and then even that has a river under the river,
Mm-hmm.
and I would call that the layer of programming that becomes much more blueprinted, less watery like emotions are, but not less powerful or less real or less of an influence. Although reality is a whole different definition there. And yeah, it's just that it's a beautiful the river beneath the river. That's a good title. We keep coming up with good titles, Dagmar.
Oh,
And those are the hardest things to get. They just keep coming without even trying. That's beautiful. We just have to write them down. And Achilles said, do you see yourself unhinged now because of your loss? Can you see yourself holding on? Try cooking. It's, I'm not sure if I'm interpreting this correct, Achilles, but when I feel lost, my go to is often some kind of kitchen task. It might be cooking, it might be, just caring for my home in some way, or preparing something, or going to procure something. And yeah, I often, that's how when I don't know what is next,
mm-hmm.
and I've got energy, then I will definitely do something like that.
Yeah. Also, any small movements with your fingers builds your oxytocin, which is the bonding hormone. Again, relationship. Even if you're by yourself, you start relating to life around you more.
Right, right. It's fascinating. People don't know, but when I'm podcasting, my hands are going. I've been looking around psychically for the thing that I usually have a cloth here, and I'll roll it and I'll unroll it and roll it and unroll it.
I do the same thing. My hands are always doing something, or my feet. but not unconsciously, but I'm aware that, I just remind myself, oh, you have feet too. Okay. You're not just a head.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Easy
There's
to
life going on underneath here.
Indeed, indeed. Let's see, Polly said, I can't go barefoot, no grass, desert, rocks, or ants, but you can handle and grow your trees, which is important to you. Nice.
Well, I mean, yeah, barefoot doesn't have to be shoeless. You could still go barefoot. It's a state of mind in a way.
Yeah, I like that. I'm with you, Polly. I don't want to be barefoot for the most part because I don't want my feet to feel like rocks. Because that's what in order to go pain free, that's what you need is like such serious calluses. I don't like them because I end up then just needing having the job of taking them off, and then I get back to the same place. So yeah, a lot of people say, "Oh, you can't ground," and I thought about I don't think God would have made it quite so. Um, like that's the only mechanism is through a barefoot that we would ground. Otherwise, we would probably be all on fire or something, or electrically damaged. But
Well, and also we know that there are definitely different frequencies in the earth now. I mean, I got myself one of those grounding mats. I don't know if I shared this with you, but it felt worse. Now, 15 years ago, when I was on a grounding mat, I felt pretty awesome. But doing it now, recently, in the last couple of years, it's like it feels like I'm being EMF'd by something weird, and I can't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I had to very expensive grounding sheets. I had to just let them go.
wow, interesting. My friend Ryan, who's been on the podcast a few times, is an expert on that and reading the energies with instrumentation of the land. And he says exactly there's all kinds of really weird stuff going on.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
you have to kind of ground in a very intimate, personal way, and just you know, with your consciousness. you know.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. Yep. Um, and was saying, how's this for synchronicity? Last night she pulled back The Women Who Run with the Wolves, which is exactly what the title today reminded me of. I still didn't read it. My friend gifted me that book a few years back. I should probably read
This,
it.
this is all Clarissa Pincola Estes, who I read and met back in the when was it, in the 90s.
Oh, nice. You met her. How fun
Yeah,
is that?
yeah, she's a great, and she's got some Eastern European heritage like I do, Hungarian heritage. So I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I know these stories.
Oh, maybe I'll have to pull it out.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I think sometimes when you're too young, you may just kind of read it, but it'll go over your head. But when you start living, you're like, oh my God, these stories. Um,
Exactly. Yeah, I have a rebel nature, and if something's popular, then I don't want anything to do with it. To my own detriment, but yeah. Yeah, the man provides the container for the women's river, like you were talking about the example of the women dancing that could go wild because they had that circle of men around them.
mhm.
Yeah, your husband was your anchor. He was an air sign, your water. He always brought you out. That's very good.
Mhm.
And oh, this is a nice quote. If you sit in the river, you will find the riverbed.
Ooh, okay. Ooh, that's a good place to sleep, huh?
Mhm, mhm,
Before you go to sleep, sit in the river, and
mhm.
that's wow. I like that. Who
Yeah,
said that? Oh,
that's
Michelle.
Michelle. Yeah, she also said that you'd find the most amazing treasures when playing in the river. Yeah, you don't. We're at the fork of two rivers here, and you don't play in that river. Unfortunately, it's muddy. It's disgusting. If you slip and you put your foot in it, you might get stuck forever. It's like gumbo, Manitoba gumbo. It's called. It's kind of soil, but I know the kind of rivers you're talking about. That's nice.
Yeah, well, here in Asheville, our rivers right now are pretty damn scary.
Are they? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're just like the radioactivity and whatever else is off the charts.
Ah,
So
yes.
that's the thing about, I'm glad that I had the chance in my lifetime to have moments where I could actually walk barefoot on the grass without chiggers or ticks or strange things crawling, like where it really was okay. Or to be able to just s- jump into a river and be just enjoying life that way and not be covered in, leeches or whatever.
Slime and
Yeah,
leeches.
yeah. So that experience, it feels like it's a different world now, and I'm sure there's places where I could still do that, but with the ticks and all of this, I mean, whatever, it doesn't feel, it doesn't have that same inviting feeling.
Right. Got it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I wanted to look at a few other of the names of the bone collector. Also, there was the Resurrector, kind of similar to the Rememberer, the
Yeah,
Rememberer, and
breathing, yeah, breathing life back into what appears dead.
that's beautiful. Yeah, that's being the actual resurrector, or right, like being the one who, like you just said, breathes the life. And
Yeah,
this is a very invisible force that when something nearly dies and comes back to life, or is fully dead and comes back to life, is the ultimate resurrection. Yeah.
and I don't know if you've ever had dreams like that, but I've had in the past dreams where um, I would accidentally a cat inside a drawer, and I would be like, and it's, to me, I mean, that's pretty classic, to have the feline feminine, locked in a drawer and forgot to feed it. Oh my God. Um, yeah, yeah,
We had a cat, my mom's one that's passed now, and she escaped outside, which was not very common. She was more of an inside cat. And she got scared and she went all the way to the edge and somehow got like over or under or something. And then she came around and went under the floorboards of the deck. So we could hear her cry, but we couldn't find her for a long time. I would go in and out. It's like, oh no, it's out. And then you go back in. Is it in? And it's like, no, it's out. And like, Georgie. So finally, like, oh my God, she's under the deck. So we call in the men at that point and the crowbar, and we start taking up the boards and the section of the deck. Well, she got scared and she ran out the other side, which it turned out she wasn't trapped at all.
oh wow,
So we took the deck apart like this, and then,
wow.
yeah, it was just so comical, and yeah, that
But it's profound, I mean, if you think about, bringing it back to your own life, like sometimes we may be thinking that something is trapped and dying and starving and in danger, but really it's going into the, under the house. you, uh,
right. And by her standards, she was trapped and in danger. She was a pitiful cry, and she was crying for help. And it was like, and maybe there's a good metaphor here too. When we scared the hell out of her, then she found the
or
exit.
or
Mhm.
or she was actually just letting you know what pleasure she's having down there, and then you disturbed her pleasure by destroying the house. I mean, possibly.
Yeah. Well,
She
I think a more likely explanation is that she was being a brat,
Oh, I
and
see.
and she wanted like a big kerfuffle
Did
to
she Was
do.
she starving though when she came out, or
It had been a day, so she'd be hungry. Yeah,
oh, okay. So
it had been an entire day.
a week. It wasn't like a week. It
Not a
was
week,
oh,
not a week,
okay,
luckily.
okay.
No, hungry but not starving. Yeah,
So
yeah,
she
yeah.
had you wrapped around her finger.
Exactly.
That's not her fault though.
Sure enough. Yeah, yeah. She was a lady that commanded her attention. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, classic cat move. Cats are bad. People don't like it when I say that. They're nearly evil. Some are actually evil.
Well, they do, I'm sure you know this part, that they release a certain kind of a parasite. The moment you're a cat owner, they release this parasite that goes, really makes you want to serve them.
Aha.
That's why they rub themselves everywhere. That's why pregnant women are not supposed to be ridiculous. But I don't know. The whole thing could be ridiculous. I'm just saying back something that I absorbed a long time ago, and maybe I should examine if it's really true that they do really. Supposedly, there are papers that research that they do release some kind of a parasite.
It's some kind of a spell that they make you serve them. And I would always notice, like, oh, I worked all day and you didn't, and I'm serving you. And interesting. How did you rig this? And they're such good teachers. They teach you. They don't learn, but they teach you. And it's like, do you get it now?
Mm-hmm.
How about now? Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah. No, they really teach. I mean, for me, my cats, I had 3. They lived to be like 30, 27, and 26, I think. But
Wow.
I had them for quite a while. But man, all of them constantly really like the best teachers, I had to learn how to slow down, relax, and even when I'm stressed, to not, um, yeah, just that kind of dissolving thing that they do all the time. They just like, they really know how to lie down.
They really do. It's especially fun when they're babies and they run high speed and bounce off the walls and ride something down the stairs, and then all of a sudden, woof, they're
Yeah.
they're gone. They're out. They're okay. Hard. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
really fun. Yes. What other names do we have? We had the wild woman. So we kind of said more about that already, but I don't know if there's anything more. This the wild woman has been. Now, I'm not sure if I'd say I would have said this, and then we can riff on it a bit. Just that's been weaponized, like that the say wild women who won't commit to a relationship, who won't settle down and have a family, who won't, um, they just want to be wild. And I've been wild to a point of being feral. And you did help me reframe that a little bit the other night, which I found interesting and welcome, because there's only so much you want to just like, oh yeah, I made big mistakes and they're all in the past. So there's nothing to do about that. But that I think that is part of has been weaponized, because if you have,
I mean, all of them have been weaponized to some degree.
Mhm,
I
mhm,
mean, it's not hard to weaponize these things. I mean, we've weaponized the crone, we've weaponized all of that. Um,
exactly.
um, yeah, and there's something about, maybe I like the word better, untameable. It's, that's actually not really a word. And the spell check is always saying, no, that's not a word, but I like it. We have to make up that there's something about that. It's not like wild, reckless wild, because that's like more of a masculine concept of wildness. But it's being close and this, I remember Clarissa Pinkola Estes talked about this poet who wrote a poem, and in it he used the word luminous animal. So
Beautiful.
that's closer to what I mean, and I think what she means too by the wild woman, that it is the luminous, the divine animal in us. That it's that part of us that has an intuition and an instinct and can feel it and knows it, and can feel, oh, danger, knows when to go on the other side of the street,
Yeah.
which would then bring the next story, which is the Bluebeard story, which is part of how we grow up and learn how to recognize that there is evil in the world.
Nice, nice. And do you want to lay it on us, or do you want to save that for next time, since we're
I think that should be the next time,
yeah, okay, yeah,
because
yeah.
we have to do something about. I am hearing. I hope it doesn't come out in the recording, but I can hear echo, as if I'm on the cell phone, and
Yeah, there is a mild echo. It's true. Yeah, yeah. There are settings. Let me see if it's anything that I could do anything about from my side.
we
The
never
echo,
had that before. So
yeah, echo cancellation is on. So, sometimes using a headset, or maybe we'll get. I'll help you get your new mic up for next week, and it might help. So yeah, yeah,
and then advance me in the world.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And yeah, I like this other the battery behind all acts of creation, right? The is it like the kind of, and you said the alchemist in the retrieval of all things woman, if we're back to the bone
Yeah,
collector here.
I mean, it's an alchemist, but not an intellectual alchemist. It's the alchemist who just works with words, songs, symbols, um, with the body, with movement, the ether, moving the ether.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I can't even conceive of an intellectual alchemist. So interesting. Like it's right off that map for
Yeah,
me as a woman, as a wild woman. Yeah, yeah. And the battery, that very much is the feminine like spark or instigator. This is Ben Balderson would always describe that a perfect metaphor where say, a woman becomes pregnant and there's only two bedrooms and there's already two children, and it's like, honey, we need an extension on the house. See, and without that spark or impetus or little alchemical you know reminder, then the man wouldn't have that ability to create
hmm
necessarily on his own. He needs that little honey.
hmm
Yeah,
hmm
the baby's coming.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's good. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Exactly. Yeah, we talked about living between the worlds in the misty lands. Let's go for this. Eats paradox for breakfast.
Well, yeah. I mean, is there? It's not an easy thing for in our modern day world to sit with paradox. And my God, we're just overflowing with it everywhere we look right now. It's the tension of these opposing forces, and we're being asked to stay on one side or the other rather than be able to hold the intensity of feeling both, and being able to ride that. And I think it just makes us stronger. It makes the battery stronger if we can hold greater and greater intensity, which is like, pain is intensity.
Right, right, exactly. Yeah, I taught this in the context of another alchemist subject, the marriage of the opposites, where we want to resolve the tension between opposites. And so the what the net result of that, the math of that, is that you pendulum swing between them. You just go from one extreme to the other extreme, and then you go back, and you think that you're going to resolve the opposition that way, but you actually energize it.
Yeah, you
The
give it. Yeah.
the exact opposite. And then, yeah, the eating paradox for breakfast. Eating is a beautiful metaphor too. There are times when I use the release process as a metaphorical eating. Like say I've got something that's really unpalatable and really indigestible, or it's caused this indigestion, and it's usually some kind of pain, right? It's always the pain. And then I will see myself it's kind of like an extreme measure to
Mhm.
go to that, and then I will start eating it piece by piece. I will take it in because the instinct is to reject it and to push it out and to try to get away. The harder you try to get away from it, the stronger it becomes
Mhm.
because you're investing it in it. But if you take it in and you swallow, like not suppress, swallow unfortunately became synonymous with suppress, but like you literally take it in, you become one with it.
Yeah.
That's what eating does. You and then you digest, and there's much more healing in there.
Yeah, eating is a profound, I mean, it's got so many layers because it's not just eating food. We're eating everything around us all the time. We are, the energy is moving through us. We're eating light. We're eating the whatever we watch on YouTube. We're eating our environment. Um, we're eating the sounds we hear. It's all being processed through us. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we're eating information. When you're learning, you're taking in a certain amount of information, and yeah, it's easy to get indigestion from that. And yeah, the discomfort of the paradox, where two things are true. So, like, just to use an example, I almost hesitate to do it, but you know,
Go.
there was an assassination, and it's like there's a lot of people, of course, rushing right forward to either debunk the fact that it's a real event, or like, try to hold it open and make it symbolic of a much greater thing, that but it would have to be real in order for that to be symbolically true. And then, at some point, I think it's, again, by design, that this is put out. It's to exhaust us, because it just sends you on the pendulum. You go back and forth, and at some point the poor mind needs to stop caring.
Yeah, yeah. It's because you're giving, like you said, you give power to that swing of that pendulum, and you're literally using your life force. I had this conversation with the guy who's working for me this morning. He's like, "Oh, can you believe?" And this person said that, and these people, that's what it is, and it's set up, and I'm like, okay, but my real estate, I want to keep it, to use it for what I want to do with it, because otherwise I'm in there. It's not to say that you shouldn't be active and do things. If you feel compelled, if you're clear and in your heart you feel like, I'm going to go do something, and you're going to let people know what you think is the truth, and you're going to go fight. Okay, that's your journey. But man, it's a lot of energy,
Yeah,
and I can't help but feel like, when I have engaged, and I felt like I'd make myself go to this side or to that side, um, it took away so much of my creativity and put it into something that, what am I doing? Unless I'm going to write about it and make it interesting or funny or give people something fresh that you can live with, that something that is sustainable for life, that isn't going to demand that I put myself into this little tight ball and I'm like, well, I'm this way and you're not. What's your problem? You're just blind. You can't see. Or, so
exactly. And the only other option seems to be to not care, to
yeah, yeah, that's
to send ourselves into numbness and
apathy. It's apathy.
apathy. Exactly. You
It's like
got it.
you have to just, it's like it's so much you can't, you're so drained of energy that that's the only way you can, in a way, conserve energy. Because even apathy, you still keep more of your energy than you would if you're doing that pendulum thing.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, you lose less energy to the lower vibrations. You actually lose a lot more energy to the higher vibrations, oddly enough.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still in the most stuck place when you're not feeling and not caring, and that's exactly where they want us. So yeah, it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
the only alternative. It seems like it's the only alternative, but it's absolutely not. Yep, Ferris wheel going nowhere. Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, lots of places to spend our energy. So yeah, that eats paradox for breakfast. There's another good title,
Let's
Dagmar.
just say eats paradox for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
All right, exactly. 3 meals and a snack.
And a snack too. Like, just a little snack. Come on, people.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Bring it on. And this is so beautiful, that she knows the ways of the world but doesn't bow to them. That
Hmm.
harkens back to the being in the world but not of the
Yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah. She's
Yeah.
not. She's not out of the world. She's not like totally, in the trap of just her world. She can go between the worlds. That's amazing to me.
Exactly. Yeah, I think I've been a little bit disabled I used to be able to flow in the worlds. It seems like easier when things were less stark. Now it's taken a lot more work, which is good, that you get a workout when you go into certain environments. And I have to admit that I am a lot nicer in at least the banks than I used to be. Except yesterday, then I went in there and it's like
What
a
did you do, Beth?
I
Did
yeah.
you start singing the Canadian?
Not in this case, but
Oh,
I know that would have been good. But like it's not busy; it's kind of vacuous, and there's two tellers, and they're helping two people that have big problems or something like that. So you're standing there, and it's just a big wide open space, and it's like, where are all the people? So someone comes around from the around the corner, and I caught her eye, and I said to her. Are you guys short staffed today? Like this, I said it kind of loud, and she's like, she's not talking to me, right? She's like trying to disappear inside of herself. And I said, "Are you short staffed today?" Like this. Said it again, and she's like, huh? Oh, you're talking to me, and she's like doing this kind of, I don't, I'm not even here, kind of thing, and then if, finally the guy goes, and I go up, and I ask the lady, "Are you short staffed today?" And she's, "No, we're not. We don't have people here in the morning like that." Oh, I said, "So you're short staffed then?" Like this, right? And it just, I can't control myself. There's something,
it's the teenager in you.
there's something broken.
Is
Yeah.
it? No, no, no. I mean, it's funny. I mean, it's a great line. If it was a movie, it would be a great passive aggressive example of like, oh, how do you set people off without taking any responsibility for it? Oh, you just come in and go, do you have a problem here?
Yeah, it is passive aggressive. Yeah, you called me out.
So, but it's so adorable. I mean, I'm just seeing the side of you like saying it even twice.
Three
Excuse
times.
me.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't like feeling entirely invisible in an institution that's taking all the money. There's something. Yeah, it's just.
It would be funny if you went in there and go, I feel invisible. Where the heck is the help?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Yeah, I'll try
switching banks.
that. Yep. Yeah. Well, she knows the ways of the world, but doesn't bow to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
The-
So
so she can then speak the truth and she has so much more freedom to speak the truth.
right. And I wasn't angry. I was just stating, and in a way, actually, I was having empathy with them, right? Rather than saying, why can't I get any service around here? Or, just like empathizing, oh, you lack for employees.
Well, I'll tell you, Beth, you can hold on to that idea, but I'm gonna be the devil's advocate here. I think it would take a lot of finessing to say that that's empathetic.
It was
Uh,
just the appearance of empathy.
the appearance of empathy, yes, I give you that.
Yeah.
But it's got make wrong all over it. It's saying you're deficient in something.
Yeah, I'll let it go. Yeah. So another one, she knows words but doesn't need them. That's pretty beautiful. Maybe we can make that the last
Yeah,
thing we're
yeah,
going to talk about today.
yeah. I think that's man, that's that the one who knows. It's just a knowing, and if people are not interested in that, she doesn't have to like. I gotta convince them with these words. It's not the most important thing. Like that part of us, I think, actually just trusts our presence, that can be with someone or walk into a room and trust that that's enough, that's just our presence. We don't have to prove what we think or feel or know, or we don't even have the words for it, which is why it sometimes sounds so ridiculous when this whole stereotype of like airy fairy, the feminine who's like into the unicorns and all of that. It just sounds ridiculous. She's like, well, there's this place that I see inside me, and it just feels so amazing, and I just feel happy. I just want you, and it's just like, oi, because some things are not for words, they're for our experience. So I don't know. What do you got on that?
I notice that I can say less and less as I go along in my life, that there was a need to say a lot more before. And in relationships, in conversations, there's often that urge to say something, say in a case of like where maybe something is wrong or there's some conflict or some problem, and then I would need to say all the words and make them understand me and be heard and all of that kind of thing, which I now I take it in, and I will do the release work on that and let go of everything and see, is there now anything to be said?
Wow.
And often there is nothing to be said. I resolve the whole entire thing on my own. Or um, is there anything here to be said that is truly love, an expression of love? And sometimes there's nothing left, right? Like it was just all not love, and there's nothing to be said. So yeah, it's
I love that. That's beautiful. Wow. I mean, there's a lot in there, what you're saying. Just to not be in that place where you need to be heard. Wow. That's because I mean, that's so universal, We all want to be heard. We want to be seen, heard, and
yeah. And then the paradox of not wanting to be seen and not wanting to be heard that simultaneously goes on.
well, for some of us, even more so nowadays. All right.
Mm,
Stay a little more invisible. Don't draw too much attention.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So everybody loves you, so you'll be safe and survive, part of the tribe. There's certain goodness in that. I've watched people, they're still part of the tribe. It's like, oh, how's that? Is that good for you? What's that like? So yeah,
You have to go through a couple of cults before you can appreciate that.
exactly. Oh, we have to do our episode on cults. That'll be so fun.
Yeah, yeah,
Really
yeah.
looking forward to that. Yeah,
Uh,
unpacking all that.
I'm not proud of it, but it's also part of my journey. So
Yeah, it was a huge part of my journey. Exactly. And I can't resist one more of
okay.
lines that so she knows what she loves, but allows what must die to die.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good one.
Is there anything that mustn't die? Or
Um, I think I think the bones mustn't die. The kind of the whatever you want to call it, but it can't. But there are certain things that like what you talk about in your work, that part of the programming, certain things, yeah. But again, she's the one who also knows how to properly grieve for what must die. I
right,
mean, and the truth is that we all must, right, at some point. So that, everything, that there's a truth, and we're eternal and we must die. Again, another paradox.
exactly. Yeah, everything must die. That's the nature of it, and the bones being the symbol of it, which are holding all of the, if I try to milk this metaphor, holding all of the information of the entire, right? That's why the wolf woman can bring the bones to life, because they contain all of the information, right? The bones have all of
Mhm.
the structure. They're crystals also. That's another beautiful thing about bones.
Yeah,
And crystals are receivers and transmitters of energy.
yeah.
And yeah, it's a beautiful study, because when and then try to define what dead is. Well, the tree died. Well, no, it's still there. It's laying on its side.
Hmm.
It's not gone. And when our bodies die, even the flesh, if we can't prove that the soul goes on, even the flesh will just it's a becoming of a new element.
But I love that. Can you imagine? It's just so it's so pure. I could just see a child, oh, grandpa's not dead. He's just on his side. I mean, there's something really beautiful about that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. When you really investigate death, it's a lot of it's not there, or nearly all of it, and yet
So real.
so real, like the realest thing that could ever be. And yeah, I like how you wrote that. She knows what she loves, but allows what must die to die. Right? That it's not a reason not to love.
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly. It's not a reason not to. Yeah, and I've seen so many women throw in the towel for that. Like if my husband's gonna die, forget it. I'm just gonna, love him from a distance, or not go all the way and open my heart.
Exactly. Was it you I was telling the other day? Someone I was telling this story how when I was a teenage runaway, my father and his side of the family said I was dead. That that's how they coped with the pain of someone going wayward or breaking all the rules or all of that kind of thing. That I was dead to them.
Wow.
Yeah, and my mother wouldn't go for it. She's like, no, she's not. No, this is my child. She's still alive. I'm gonna stick by her. Yeah, she's being an asshole, but I'm yeah, she just wouldn't buy into that really grave conclusion.
And you're lucky. I remember you mentioned how your mother had that mama bear quality. That's just so awesome that you had that experience in your life.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was my son I was telling. Exactly. It was a profound influence to me, and I have that same that I don't care how big a betrayal, I don't care how anything, like I'm just never ever going to let go of this love, really. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, What's the word?"
Yeah, yeah,
It- Is
exactly.
English the only language that doesn't have like a whole bunch of words for love? Do they only have like love? I know other languages have many layers of love, but
Yeah, there's different kinds of love. Like there's a breakdown. I'm not sure where it comes from, but the agape love and the romantic love, and I can't remember who defined those, but it's useful actually.
but you can't say I agape you. You can't say I romantically love you. You know what I mean?
That's right. You
There's no separate word that immediately
exactly.
you know, oh, this is a woman talking to a man or a man talking to a woman, or this is two friends. Love, love, love. It's all like, same.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's kind of cruel. We needed more words.
I
And there is one question from Maya. This could be interesting for our last thing. Now that we're doing our third last thing,
Yes.
is how do you grieve properly? What would you say to that, Dagmar?
Mhm. Wow. That's I think there is no proper way to grieve, whatever you need, uh, but you'll know you're grieving properly when you feel like you love the person even more. I think that it's how you feel, like how much feeling can flow, and it has to end up with it's a celebration. The grief is in its most strangest paradoxical way. The reason you even feel grief to begin with is because there was so much love there and you missed the person, or you had things that you didn't finish that felt incomplete. But it all comes down to, the depth of love, and that should always be celebrated. The
It's
capacity to feel it. And I believe that the people who passed on, they feel it. They feel the grieving, and it's not it's good to grieve after they die, not while they're still dying, but after, because if you're doing it while they're still dying, it makes it a lot harder to for them to leave, if that's what
right.
if that's what they want to do. But afterwards, oh man, that's a whole, I mean, I just feel like, I mean, we yeah, I I have not in this country been to a truly proper funeral yet, where I felt everybody let themselves have the fullness of their feelings every time they speak about, when people go up and do their speeches. Um, it's so funny that America is seen as this land of freedom and rebellion and outspokenness, but when it comes to like just primal organic feelings, it's actually very reserved in a strange way, like when it comes to those deeper feelings. Um,
Canadians even more so with the British influence. We're super muted compared to Americans with emotions. Yeah, traveling taught me that. I'm like, oh, how do they do that? They're so exuberant and wild with their emotions and expressive. And I'm like studying that. Where does that work?
super muted.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'll take a go at that
Yeah,
question.
go for it. Yeah.
And I agree that there's no proper way, and you don't know it. I think in some ways the grief teaches you, and that's why it's not to be rejected, or that we could have any real plan around it. Although, having said that, I think many cultures have structure for grief where you they parade in the street and they cry and they wail, the wailing women and the wailing walls and all of that kind of stuff probably is good. And I'll just say something. I know you want to say something, but I'll just finish quickly about that. To me, the problem with grief, it's not to underestimate. It's very easy to talk about grief when you're not having it and then intellectually decide. But the problem with grief is people don't go to its depths.
Hmm.
Because if you go right all the way to the depth of the grief, you're actually going to discover love and freedom, which are the same in my way I use words. Yeah.
So, writing on what you're saying, going to the depth of it, how to access it, because sometimes, uh, like I noticed this in the Haka ceremony, um, the New Zealand, what's the name of the, oh God, um, well, people hopefully know what Haka is. It's the Aborigines in New Zealand. um, they have a grief ceremony where and same thing for a wedding ceremony and all their ceremonies, the men and the women, they do this. It's like a warrior dance where they're beating their chest, they're sticking their tongues out, they're making it's so
Maoris.
full. Maoris, thank you very much. Thank you. Um, it Because a lot of times what's missing for proper grief, you just kind of get the sniffles and you're just crying, that's a very different polite, thing. But to access it so that it's connected all the way to your feet, so that it is full bodied, you have to have something that I mean, I think we need this in our everyday culture, in anything, start your morning that way, have breakfast that way. But to access the vigor that is in our body, in our batteries, that is something that, and if you pound your chest or stomp your feet and you make some strong noises and you're in your grief, you will find the kind of grief that brings life, which is to me what La Loba does in her singing. She can reanimate things because she's giving it the full force. She's not saying, oh, this feeling of anger, oh, I can't have this. This has nothing to do with grief. But anger is nothing but vigor. It can be just vitality. And so then when those tears do come, they're coming from a place that's connected to actual, the root of incarnation being here. It's in the body. It's not just here, not just, like that. So and there is a really great, you can find on YouTube, if you go to Haka wedding ceremony, there's a videotape. I'll send it to you, Beth. That it's a wedding ceremony, and then there's a funeral one too. They're so similar, but the feelings that are coming up, one is of celebration and deep commitment from like the whole body, you know, to be in this marriage, and the other one is just this deep commitment to feeling pain in the most exquisite way, like some flamenco singers, you know. They're not feeling sorry for themselves. They're celebrating. Even victimhood can be celebrated, and it changes. It becomes something else, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, the phrase acted out, and not to take away from it, but to actually, to portray it, to that's part of that, like the full bodiedness, to allow the full expression, which is a creation.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and you said resonance. It makes me think of like feeling it literally, where you vibrate sound
Yeah.
in your bones, where all the mineral, you know, vibrating it through your whole body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, exactly.
it's extraordinary, you know, and you need a ritual space to do this. But most people, to even get them to relax enough to be able to get into that, because we don't have anything in our cultures, at least not now, but the Maori still do. And what a freaking blessing, you know, to witness. Um, just even witnessing it, you feel the exuberance of life, you know. In It's sort of like everything is not going from the pendulum this way. It's like all in, you know, everything is inside. You're in it. You're at the heart and core of it.
Exactly. Exactly. In it, but not of it. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, I am getting to the end of my time now. So thank you so much, Dagmar, for this conversation. It's been beautiful. Thank you for all the participation in the chat, by the way. That's just wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. That's a beautiful element that you guys bring. Hello, Artist Seer, by the way. And Polly Vegas knows how to spell Maori. That's very good. Good for you.
And yeah, thank you for the living room, and thank you for anybody who joined us in our living room.
Indeed.
We
Indeed.
have a big living room all the way from Canada down to North Carolina. It's a pretty big living room.
It really is. Yeah. Expanded version. All right, my dears. Well, we'll be back again Friday, September. That would be the 19th
Hmm.
at 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And I think that's pretty much all for now.
Yay.
Okay. Lots of love, everyone.
Bye.
Bye for now.